and you'll be all right. Going on. So my camera had to hit something funny real quick, of course, right on the launch, but that's okay. Camera might be blurry, but the focus ain't. We out here. I got my main man in the building. If you didn't know, now you know. My guy, Winston Buckley. I'm gonna go ahead and bring him on. What's up, Winston? How you living, my brother?
Doing all right, man. Can't complain.
I'm trying to get right with on my camera here. Honestly, to be real with y'all, we was behind the scenes, and I was like, "Oh yeah, let me fix my camera real quick before we do this," and then it still came out this way. So maybe we'll have to upgrade. Hit the like for me so I can afford to upgrade my webcam. The portfolios is down right now, so we would appreciate you on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So basically, we just hopped on here. We want to talk about what's going on in the macro environment. Kind of touch on what's going on with the Fed. Q4 winter is coming. It's getting real cold over there in Germany. Them oil prices is going up, so that's what we're here for. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you talk for a couple seconds here, Winston, while I try to get this camera right.
All right. Yeah. Let's get your camera situation so we can see what we're hearing as well. But yeah, it's so much that's going on, not only in the crypto space, but also in the macroeconomic environment as a whole. And so the big talk this week obviously was around the Fed funds rate and what was going to happen there. It was kind of obvious. Well, maybe not to everybody, but it's kind of obvious what the Fed was going to do. And they did what they said they were, what we thought they were. And they went ahead and put out that 0.75, and it was to be expected. And it was just interesting just to see the reactions in the market, both in the stock market and in crypto, like right after it. And it makes you wonder, like, what's actually priced in already versus what's there that people are hoping for. Like, what are the speculative bets that are around it, and just kind of seeing what the both the crypto market and the stock market was doing, like right after the announcement and when Powell was
Bruh,
talking, it was just so weird.
that volatility was crazy. Like I was watching like some candles. I don't know if there's been a few videos that were floating around on like Twitter as well, and they were just like people watching I believe it was so I don't know what actually country they were in. They maybe a few Asian dudes. They had put on a bet for like 4K with like 40x leverage, like right during the FOMC announcement, and then it like shot up or whatever, and then it just shot down. They got liquidated. They were up. They went up 100K though from a
Wow.
4K 40X. They were up like 100K, 110K, 114K, then boom down 90K, 86, 70, 40, 30, liquidated. It's like,
Ooh.
all this is all within a matter of like 30 seconds. So it's like, it's crazy how like just these FOMC meetings have become like events. I mean, I don't know, at least for me, like I'm used to going on, the Lakers game's coming on tonight, got to make sure, or I like the Eagles game's coming on tonight. That was like the event you were going to watch. Like now, like I really tune in. Oh, 11 o'clock. Let me make sure. Hold on. 11 o'clock my time, right? 2 o'clock Eastern. The announcement's coming out. The minutes are coming out. Let's see what he says in the Fed meeting. The press conference is going to be crazy. So it's a weird culture right now around
Yeah.
like just those type of events.
No, that's true. I know the people that I talk to, people that I communicate with on a regular basis, it is such a big thing. And it makes me wonder, and I'm not on the scene anymore, and I'm not a cool kid anymore. So I really don't know if people out there at large are paying it as much attention. But I think so, because everybody's like watching their pockets right now, and there are a lot of people. They talk about like all these millennials and Gen Zers that are on the sidelines waiting to buy a house, like trying to buy a house. And so like this even though it doesn't directly affect the mortgage market, the primary mortgage market, and mortgage rates, but people are looking at the Fed's fund rate because they're like, okay, it does affect my affordability. It does affect
Right.
loan rates, it affects credit cards and those sort of things, auto loan rates, and so I think more people are starting to kind of, even if they don't really understand what it means, they know that if the Fed is
We're starting
raising
to see the
something, it's gonna
effects.
cost more for me,
Yeah.
you know.
It's like if that's the true trickle down in economics, right? Like the Fed raising rates, it is trickling down not to the people that have to normally pay them, it's coming down to the consumers. So everyone
Absolutely.
should definitely be more aware of that. Um, and all right, so what are we thinking? Obviously, with Q4 coming up, the market outlook has been pretty bad. Putin just came out with his letter declaring that um, pretty much war and nukes will or can be used. Nothing is off the table. Like Kanye said, nothing is off the table. So I read that males in Russia, age 18 to I think it was 60, honestly, were being stopped at airports and not being allowed to buy flights to leave the country. So they're definitely taking it a lot more serious than it seems like we are in America. I don't know. Actually, I haven't had any conversations with Joe myself, but it seems like they're taking it a little bit more serious than we are. So with all that looming, and obviously the Fed continuing to raise interest rates, what is your kind of Q4 outlook towards crypto? You don't have to give any specific numbers, but just wondering, what are your thoughts as we look into these risk-on assets, right? Another term that I learned when I decided to become a macroeconomics in the past 3 months.
Man, I think like post merge, we really saw what the market is, and it really was kind of like the thing that was propping up everything, like all the excitement, and we saw what happened to eat right after the merge, and it just kind of talks to and points to where we're going. Like everything is, it's kind of crazy because I was caught up in the echo chamber too at the end of last year with crypto. Like it's like we got X number of months before winter is coming, and eat this 10K and 100K Bitcoin, and that's all I heard, and it really was like a lot of hopium. However, what we have now is we actually have actual data that's being reported by all these government and regulatory bodies all over the world, as well as some of the top economists and like head of banks and the CEO of FedEx and like all these global CEOs that are coming out and saying, talking to their people, and these documents are getting leaked and these audio files getting leaked, and they're like, just prepare for what's coming. Like it's really about to get rough. The Fed is coming out and they're telling everybody, signaling, they're basically saying like we're going to feel pain before it gets better, and so it's a little interesting. At least in my lifetime, I haven't, and I haven't always paid attention, especially in my 20s and before that. But just listening to it now, like I really can't remember a time where they were just like, oh, it's well, other than the great recession. Um, anytime
2008,
outside
yeah.
of that where they were just like, oh yeah, it's about to be really bad out here.
Yeah, I mean, and Powell was actually like saying those words, right? He was like, "Yeah, it's gonna be painful. It could be long. Like we have to continue this type of action." So,
Pause.
um, hey, man.
No, I just feel
uh,
like doing the New York thing real quick.
um, you got me shots. Ah, ah, ah. But nah, for real though, he did come out, saying that this type of policy from the Fed is going to continue, right, until they actually are able to get the interest rates, or sorry, get inflation back under control. But I just don't know if that's actually going to happen. Like I don't really see the path for it to happen right now. It seems like things are just, it seems like the storm is only starting, so to speak. But I know
Yeah,
there was a few other things that you wanted to jump into, so we can change up the gears if you like.
yeah, man. We can sure. I have a couple of articles to share here. The first two are kind of speaking to what we were talking about already, and it is really weird because the things that typically would happen like aren't happening. Usually when certain things go up, other things go down. But we've been in everything up for about 2 years, and now some of the things that are down are the other way around, and we got these yield curves inverting, and it's just all this stuff is just really weird. So let's see what I got here. Let me share my screen.
Oh yeah, let's get that up there.
Let me go back, skipping around here. All right, so Justin and I, we were having a conversation offline before this, and we were just talking about this quantitative tightening that the Fed is doing, and crypto has never been in a period where we've experienced quantitative tightening. And so basically, just real basic, simple terms for everybody, that's basically the Fed is not putting money into the market. They're taking money out of the market. And one of the things, all my years working in banking and in studying economics in school, crypto has really taught me the most about money. I started to pay attention in a different way. And on the other side of buying anything, you would think this is common sense, but wherever there's a buyer, there's a seller. So the Fed has actually been a buyer all these years. They just been buying mortgage-backed securities. They've been buying a bunch of bonds. And so now they're just letting things expire and roll off their balance sheet. And so that's going to tighten up the money supply. All of the stimulus money and all of the easy money that was out there, that's starting to dry up.
In a sense, it's like, okay, I'm running a business, right? Like say you're like a 12, 13 year old and you start your business and you got your little business and you hype, and all of a sudden you start getting these customers coming in every day, every week, customer coming in, online orders, and then come to find out it's your parents ordering from you because they didn't want you to feel bad because you weren't getting any real sales. So that's what it's like right now, ladies and gentlemen. The government was out here buying up all the stocks, putting liquidity into the system, and all of a sudden they were like, "All right, you 18 now, you on your own. Let's see how you handle it."
Yeah, man.
Break it down a little bit.
Man, you brought a memory back. I remember I used to sell those little boxes of candy. I forgot the company, but it was like the little school fundraiser drive, and they give you these boxes of candy, and whoever sold the most would get some kind of prize. And yeah, my mom, she basically would eat the box of candy throughout the month and then just pay the $40.
She's like, yeah, I'm gonna pay it anyway. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I'm good for it. I'm good for it.
Man, I ain't selling no candy. Oh man, but yeah, that is actually a good example. Is Fed just kind of think of them like big brothers. Like, okay, we're gonna make sure there's money in your pocket, but right now, yeah, you're a grown man, you're a grown woman. You got to get it how you live. So yeah, they're taking that money supply out, and if I'm not mistaken, it's at a tune of $100 billion per month that they're letting fall off their balance sheet starting this month, and that leads to this next uh, article here, and it just shows uh, this here. Let me go back up the top so y'all can see what this is. But this leads into the Fed's fund rate and what that's been historically. So they went up by 0.75. So all right, let me not conflate two different things. The Fed is doing two things right now, which is, I don't know if it's necessarily unprecedented or not. So they're letting stuff roll off their balance sheet, and then also they're raising interest rates at the same time. So it'll be something that they were doing one or the other, but they're doing both at the same time. And so, in the past, over the past 10 years or so, they just left the Fed funds rate alone, but we're putting money into the economy. But now they're raising the Fed's funds rate and taking money out of the economy. So some people are like, the reaction.
And just to clarify for people, the Fed funds rate is just the target interest rate that the FOMC sets, right? So the Federal Open Markets Committee, that's just the target interest rate. Okay, this is what we want it to be. I'm sorry,
exactly.
Keep going, Winston.
Exactly. No, that was perfect. Thanks for doing that. And so this Fed funds rate, it affects a lot of things. I mean, ultimately it affects our buying power to a certain degree, but it affects, your auto loan rates. It affects your credit card rates, a lot of loan rates. It affects essentially what the banks have as their base rate, and then they tack their rates on top of that, and that's what's offered to you. So you might actually see, if you analyze certain loan documents or certain credit card statements, it might say like the Fed funds rate. They might have like a base rate plus XYZ. So it's like they're basically taking the amount that they had to borrow the money from the Fed from their money, their interest rate, and then they have their interest rate based on your risk profile on top of that.
Right.
So yeah, that basically it all feeds into the economy and it makes things more expensive. Now, what's so interesting is the Fed is hiking these interest rates because they're trying to beat down inflation, and that seems to be one of the primary reasons as part of their dual mandate. So it's to keep people employed and to keep inflation low as part of their dual mandate, right? But what's crazy is because there was so much money in the economy for all that time, people still are sitting on bags. So all the profits that were made, there are a lot of people who made a lot of money in crypto, in real estate. I mean, there are school systems that are flush with cash, so a lot of admin and educators not, and it's not across the board. So teachers don't come for me. I know educator salary is still low in a lot of places, but there are some places where they like boosted salaries up like crazy. A lot of people are making more than they ever did, so people are still sitting on cash. And then we got that pent up demand for tourism, and so people just like, if I got to put on a credit card, I ain't went nowhere in 2 years, I'm gone. And so we're starting to see, and I wish I had these charts up, but savings rates are going back down to pre-pandemic levels. Like they shot up during the pandemic. Everybody was saving. I was one of them too. I became one of those survivalist type people, saving everything, buying gold, silver, guns, bullets. That was me. I was buying bread, rice, all kind of stuff, man. And mason jars. Like I was short just from digging a hole in the backyard, like man, I was going crazy for a minute, man. That March 2020 was something else. Like I really was kind of out there with it.
You was
Um,
ready.
yeah, bro. I was so close to ordering my 5G helmet to
Oh
yeah,
no.
conspiracy started flying. Um, so yeah, I know. I'm sorry, I got off on a whole another tangent, but all that money was in the economy, and so that's starting to leak back out. Savings rates again are going back down to historic lows, which is terrible. Credit card and borrowing rates are going back up. So people have become accustomed to a certain lifestyle over the past couple of years, and now people are financing that lifestyle, and all that stuff is going to work into the economy. So we got that's going on, savings rates going down, borrowing rates are going up, and now companies are also saying that they're starting to do hiring freezes, and companies are starting to lay off again. So we got all this stuff that's coming to a head, and some people are still kind of like dovish, like, oh, they're about to pivot and turn around. I'm like, man, what are y'all looking at? Anything's possible, but I don't know. So I'm kind of bearish on it all.
Yeah, the only thing, because I agree with everything you're saying, like 100% agree. Don't like I don't want this to get misconstrued. My only thing is, man, I was so bullish on crypto, and I was so bullish on the fact that Bitcoin's price was going to, just smash up, go past 70K, maybe dip a bit, then go up to 100K. I put my money where my mouth was, right? Um, and obviously I got a lot of it right, but the most important part, taking profits, and taking enough profits, I didn't get fully right. Right? I would say it was more like a C plus than an A plus, which is what obviously we all want to get there. So because of that, I have that same type of feeling now, and I'm just trying to I guess find that settlement layer for myself, right, where I can process it all and be like, okay, when all the news was so bullish and you thought it was going to hit 100K, you felt similar to the exact same way you feel now to the downside. So now I'm just trying to like take it and be like, okay, everyone thinks this, but also, being completely honest, I've never caught myself being this level of an investor during these type of economic situations, right? So like, I've never had this much at risk or not to risk, right? I've never been just this invested into the market, into what happens with the market as I am now. So I'm really trying to take it from a different lens and a different scope, and just try to cut my emotion fully out of it. And when I do cut my emotion fully out of it, I tend to lean towards exactly what you were saying, right? There's just so much going on in the markets, even though it has seemed like a slight echo chamber because everyone is so bearish. At the end of the day, the facts that you laid out, case in point, it's like it's hard to be bullish. So in my opinion, best case scenario is Bitcoin just survives this, 17 to 20K range, even if it's for the next 2 years, 3 years, right? If it can survive this range, I think that will say a lot, and go a long way into the eventual rise that we all know is coming. So just get my take on it.
Yeah, man. All right, so I'm glad you pointed that out because we've heard be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. So I know even though uh, Buffett wouldn't want me to apply this to Bitcoin since he and Munger think it's rat poison. However, I wanted the chart. I do look at the fear and greed index for crypto, and we are in that extreme fear territory right now. And if you like back that chart out and look at when there was extreme fear, like right after that, there was always like these big pumps in the market. So it's like your logical side of your brain is telling you, like, dude, we're in a valley right now. Throw everything that you can into the market. I remember before 2020, one of my coworkers and I, we were having a conversation. We were just talking about the 08, 09 recession, and we were just like, man, we were just so young, so broke, so stupid to not put everything that we had in the market. And if we ever have that opportunity again, then we're going to just borrow and sell everything that we have and go into the market. And March 2020 comes. And so I did kind of like double Dutch moves, when you trying to figure out where to go. So I didn't do what I said. I did it, but not like just full out like this is it.
You didn't go all in.
Yeah, man. I pulled out the 22 instead of the AK. Like I
You're
just
pussyfooting around, Winston. God.
exactly, man. And so what I invested, yeah, absolutely. Just like to your point, man, it went crazy and fell into the echo chambers and everything. And so now we're all experiencing the pull back down to earth. So with that, it's just like, okay, we know where we are. We know we have a good idea. It can't be 100% certain, but we
Right.
pretty much in the long term, we can pretty much say for sure that it's going to go up and to the right.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
It is our belief.
it is our belief. Yes, this is. Please do your own research. This is not
Yeah,
financial
not
advice.
financial advice. This
Seek
is what we
a
thinking.
licensed financial professional, for sure. But yeah, these are the times that really, yeah, test your conviction, and then it really causes you to be a better investor. It's just like, okay, we were talking about price and value. Do we feel like the value of Bitcoin and all these other altcoins are valuable despite the price that it is right now? So it forces you to really have that conversation with yourself and do that fundamental research.
Yeah, you ain't never lying. So I pulled up this the fear and greed just really quick, just to because I was looking at it as you were saying that, and it's pretty obvious, like pretty much exactly what you were saying, right? So every time, let me see. So on the left hand side, I know it's a little hard to see for the people watching, but on the left hand side, all the way at the bottom, we got down here is 10, and this goes up by 10. So we got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, up to this area, right? So anytime the fear and greed index, and this is going back since 2018, anytime the fear and greed index got around 10, it had massive volatility to the upside. And now this is not correlated directly with price, but obviously when everyone is greedy, the price usually has risen substantially. So right now we hit that fear and greed index back in June of like 8, 6, 11, 9, 12. So at the end of May, beginning of June. Right now we're sitting around 20. We've been sitting around 20 for a while. So if we do get another capitulation down to around that 10, history would say that it would be a good time to maybe to throw some chips in. But who am I to argue with history?
Yeah, man. And speaking of that, circling back to another conversation that we were having before this is so we have our crypto history, but crypto has never been in a period of quantitative tightening, and it's never experienced a true, prolonged recession. It hasn't experienced Fed funds rate increasing over time, and all these different things that we're going into now. So if we really are going into uncharted territory with where the space is going. And so all that being said, one might jump to the conclusion to say, well, the reason that crypto had, such a crazy run from 2020 to 2022 was just easy money. And part of that's true. I mean,
Definitely.
all these articles are coming out about, fake data on chain with some of the places like CoinMarketCap, basically like all this fake trading. So there's a lot of articles that's coming out about that. And then, the whole Solana TVL, like 3/4 of it was just, man, that thing, man, we might need to just do
they make it hard for us to stay, don't they?
I
They
know,
make it hard for
man.
us to stick through it. It ain't gonna
Dude,
be
like
easy.
just when you had your last argument about crypto's not a scam with somebody, then
Oh, but taha.
yeah, so it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but it's good that we're at this time because it flushes out all of that excess and just all of the funny stuff. And this is not unique to this market. Yes, it's exaggerated because, yeah, I mean, it's still a highly unregulated and it's an inefficient space. But trust and believe, this is in forex. This is in the stock market. This exists in every other market. It's just that we get a really bad rap for what goes on in crypto.
And crypto is just the cool kids. For the past few years, crypto's kind of been the cool kids. So it's like, oh no, let's knock them down a peg.
That's
Hold on here,
right.
mister. They talk about all this like illegal money spend and black market dollars basically with crypto, and I'm like, y'all don't know about cash? Like, what are you talking
Right?
about?
Yeah, yeah.
What are we saying? What are we doing here? Like, all right, you got it. Like, you got it.
I know, absolutely. But one could get just kind of down and say that it's over. Like there's nothing going on. But if you start doing your fundamental research, there's so much building that's going on, and whatever your narrative is in crypto, if you're a Bixie, a Bitcoin max, man, what am I talking about? a bit,
all
a
right.
bit, the big, yeah, that's a new one. I might need to coin that Bitcoin maxi. If you're ETH maxi, whatever your narrative is, then you can find stuff out there for it. If you're looking for an ETH killer, I mean, there's a number of them out there where there's a whole bunch of stuff like the stuff that's happening with Solana. Hate it or love it. Like, I mean, Solana has a phone coming out. They have a flagship store. Like, there's so much stuff that's happening, and the proof is in the pudding. All these developers, like they can't find enough developers to build out the stuff. All of the major banks have these crypto departments that they're hiring for. They're building out all these desks. New York Stock Exchange, they're building out all these desks just for crypto exchanges. Fidelity, BlackRock, like it's like what else do you want from me?
What more can I say? Look what you made me do. Look what I made for you. Nah, it's going crazy. There's over like I mean, this is just the last time I checked. There was over like 13,000 crypto jobs currently available. So if anyone out there is looking for a crypto job, you can go to web3.career, web3.career, and yeah, get yourself a crypto job, man. It's cool over here. The waters is all right. I try to tell you, man.
Yeah.
Everything is everything. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking from a crypto employed master himself, yeah.
Yeah, man. So, I own my own crypto business. I also work for someone to help them with their crypto business. So, we got a lot going on. We got a lot
Yes,
going on in the crypto
indeed.
space.
A lot going on, a lot
All
more
right,
to
man.
come.
Hold up. All right, hold up now. Come on, dog. I didn't know we was dropping bangers on them.
Yeah, y'all wait and see. Wait and see.
um,
Got something coming.
all right,
But
man. I don't know if you want to hit on these XRP guys or not. I don't want that army. I don't know that army is looking strong, but
that XRP army, man, that is one of the most interesting things. I've talked to a Bitcoin, so Satoshi Vision maximalist, and that's just kind of just a whole different
One of
mindset
the people
like
I
that.
introduced, one of the people I introduced to crypto, like hit me up and was like, "Oh, like, do you know about SVG? It's like Satoshi's vision. It's like the real Bitcoin. It's the real Bitcoin." And I was just like, "What have I done? Like, where did you go wrong, my guy?" But I was like, actually, okay, I'll hear you out because too often we do dismiss things too easily in
Right.
crypto. I've been guilty of it. So instead of just easily dismissing it, I was like, you know what? All right, let me do my own research here, so before I come back at him, I'm actually looking into it. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and there's stuff there. I could see why they feel the way that they feel. However, you kind of need to see where the herd is moving. And I do get it. I mean, it's just like Eve Classic. I mean, if we really want to get into it, Ethereum Classic is the real Ethereum. But where's the herd? So you
Right?
can
Yeah.
kind of stand on that anthill, if you want, but you're gonna be hungry out
What
here.
what do they say? History is written by the winners. So so you can say call it whatever you want. I ain't mad at you, but I'm just
I'm
saying.
I'm not mad, and I can speak to the mindset of the XRP army because I was in there, and when I first got into crypto in 2017, that's where most of my purchases went to. Like I thought XRP was just going to like kill the game. Like it just, if to me, it was just so clear. Like there is XRP is just going to rule all of it. I had a banking background, the money transfers, the international remittances. It just made sense. They were supposed to kill Swift. I was like, man, this all of this makes sense, and just the amount of money in the banking system. I was like, it's easy. And 5 years later, XRP Army is still like banging. Man, I threw that flag out there a long time ago. I was just like, I never sold any of my XRP. But when I really got into like the space and learned about all these different altcoins, and then the true mission of Bitcoin, I was just like, okay, it has its place. But some people think XRP is going to be the only crypto that will survive anything above all. But
I mean, you hear the same thing about Shiba Inu though, and Doge. So which, like I said, shout out to those guys. Look, man, my whole thing is the total crypto global market cap reaches 10 trillion, and I'm happy. So I don't care what you buying, buy it. It don't
buy
matter
it.
to me because you're bringing awareness to the space and you are becoming part of the space. And most likely you'll learn as you enter the space, right? Like you started with XRP, and I would say your knowledge level has vastly probably increased since then, right? We've all bought dumb things, BBQ coin. Like we've all been there. We've all taken the gamble. We've all done it. It it the one thing I do hope though is that if you do get into it, it leads you to education about the space, because if you get educated about the space, you most likely stay. So
Absolutely, man. Quick tangent here about Shiba Inu. One of my friends called me, close friends called me, and he was like, Winston, I know you're not into the meme coins and stuff, but man, what you think about Shiba Inu? And I said, man, don't call me with that. You know how I feel. He's like, wait, 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 wait. Let me tell you. He said, I've been watching this prophet on YouTube. He had a prophetic dream, and the Lord told him that there's going to be this big wealth transfer. And the Lord told him it's going to happen with Shiba Inu. And it's going to happen this year. And I was like, bro, you mean to tell me that you're about to, and
you
I'm
listening to a guy on YouTube talking about a dream?
and so like he's telling me this, and like I'm like dying laughing, but he was serious. I was like, okay, let me back up. Now I'm a man of faith, so it's just like, okay, when people start speaking about their faith and stuff, I was like, okay, let me be careful, because like he was so serious. And one of the things that he said that this guy was saying on YouTube was that because China is going through a period of inflation and all these different bans, that they were going to choose Shiba Inu because the Shiba is a Chinese dog. And I said, bro, okay, let's just kind of analyze this for a second. I said, if that's the basis, why not choose a token with a panda or a tiger on it? These are animals that derive out of Asia. Why not an elephant? And why not? I was like, dude, the rationale around it, and I kind of talked them off the ledge. But all that being said,
But you blew this man. He could have made mad bread. You messed him up.
I
This
know.
man could have been the wallet that had the $5 billion worth of Shiba off
Yeah,
of 7 racks.
you're right. You're right, man. I hope I didn't talk him out of making some money because he's gonna be mad with me. But it's a lot of stuff out there, and when you latch on to one particular narrative, and it could be for the good or for the bad, but when you just totally block out the rest of the space, it could be dangerous because with XRP, and I mean XRP is actually, I mean, they're actually a good company. Like it's not a bad company, and there's a lot of fighting in crypto about their whole mission. But there are people that call me about drip token, for example, and they were just so convicted about drip token, and I mean their life savings are dripping away as we speak, fooling around with drip token. So when you just like
Drip
I
too
just
hard.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Drip too hard. But the XRP army, for y'all, looks like this summary judgment that has been filed by Ripple and also the SEC is like huge, and we see the price pumping on it. I think it's up like almost 50% in the past 7 days,
Yeah, it's
just
been
on that
crazy.
news alone. You know, so I don't know. Some people feel like it's gonna 10x, once this case is over. But I mean, let's kind of play the other side of it. What if Ripple is determined a security? Would that be bad for the price, or would it be like, okay, we knew that already, and it still goes up to the moon, man? What you think?
Um, well, I heard the CEO of Ripple, I think, I don't know if it was the creator or the CEO, but basically he was saying that he's met with the SEC. The SEC originally asked him to come in and like talk about Ripple. They were trying to get a better understanding about blockchain and like what Ripple was going to be doing and how they were going to be using XRP. And he was just at Masari mainnet, which just went down like last weekend or the weekend before. And he was saying that, yeah, like I met with the SEC, like I met with all these people already. I was in their office like 3 or 4 times, and then randomly one day I just got an email saying that like, oh, Ripple XRP is a security, and you need to stop what you're doing. And he was like, so like if they knew or thought like with real intention that it was a security, why would they be meeting with him? Why would they be trying to help him facilitate what he wanted to bring to life in his vision of Ripple XRP? So I don't know. It's a strange case. But once they brought the tag team in, oh, and also there was a summary judgment that actually did happen where the judge said that you know the SEC were acting out of line in their statements. So they have that for them, but it's going back to court once the. I'm not sure who were the two that teamed up
Oh yeah,
behind the.
this right here, the Chamber of Digital Commerce, they got approval to join the SEC in the lawsuit against Ripple.
Right.
So now we have this other regulatory body that's jumped in the race after both sides filed for this motion for a summary judgment. Now it's like the thing that has Ripple pumping. Now there's another part to this story, so it's like, okay, does this mean that it's going to be another year? And is this new body? Are they going to start filing paperwork that has to be reviewed? And so, man, it's so interesting. And I think at this point, because it's been so long, so many people are like, just say yes or no, so that I mean the rest of the space, because I mean there's a target now on Eve too. There's been some comments that have come out that said that, well, since some of these early transactions occurred by these miners that were in the states, and then like this majority of activity early on the blockchain and ETH, because it occurred here in the states, then we, the SEC, have jurisdiction over that. And so, that's just an opinion at this point, but there might be some action around that. So this case is so important because from there. And I think most people just like, okay, say yes, XRP, ETH, AMP, all these other tokens are security so that we can go ahead and do what we need to do and act accordingly. And if we don't want to be a security and build a project this way, then we'll build it that way so that people just know
Right.
what to do.
I don't know, man. We'll have to see how it plays out. So, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say be careful with XRP. Like if that's your jam, then that's your jam. Go ahead and get it how you live it. I still own XRP, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
own like a enough to like really think about it. It's kind of just I'll see it when I see it. If I ever see it, cool. If not, all right. Um,
Man, that's how I feel about my XRP because my XRP is locked up in Celsius. So I'll see it when I see it, if I see it. But man, back to what we were talking about. I really bought into the whole Alex Mashinsky vision. The whole Celsius community, and it really was kind of a beautiful thing. We just didn't know that they were being irresponsible with
I
some
was
of
gonna
their
say,
investments.
yeah, like it's like it really it only went bad when it went bad, right? Like if they wouldn't have been so irresponsible in the overall grand scheme of things, the community was there, the product seemingly worked well, but it's just like everyone just thinks they're a genius in a bull market, right? And it shows that even the big guys think they're geniuses in the bull market, and anyone can lose their shirt. So, but
Yeah, we have to be careful around trusting figureheads in this space because Do Kwon was a genius until Terra fell apart, and I mean he could do no wrong before then. When it all fell apart, now there's like warrants out for his arrest, and all these articles are coming out about his failed projects in the past, and like anything crazy that he said, like there are these compilations around that now. But it's kind of like even Bertie Madoff, for example. I mean, he wrote a lot of the laws that exist, the policies that exist to this day. I mean, he sat on all these different boards and was like a darling in the financial world until it all came tumbling down. So as much as we love these devs, they're still humans too, and
yeah,
as much as we like to say like code is law, and as beautiful as the narrative, the overall narrative of this space is and what it means, there's still people, and people write bias into code and they make decisions, and so it's like we still have to keep that into account with all of this. And so figureheads, yeah, they can be very dangerous. Some are really good and can do and deliver, and they all take risks. It's just that Mashinsky's risks, they didn't work. So
not
that's
this time, Chief.
not this time. So
Not this time.
so
All right,
interesting, man.
all right, man. So we touched on a lot. Let's. Are there any last topics we want to hit on before we head out?
Well, maybe we could just kind of wrap it up with the ETH merge and what that means, because it's one of those things that has a big question mark around it. We we see what's happening with ETH, like we were talking about before. It's performing like it probably should perform in this type of market, along with the rest of the market. So, you know, one thing
Yeah,
that's
it turned
crazy.
out to be. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh well, I was just gonna say one thing that is kind of an indirect impact from the whole Ethereum moving to proof of stake is the secondary market for GPUs. It's just kind of falling out, So now,
Cratered.
yeah, if you want to build like a gaming PC, like it's time to do it, man.
Now's the time. Them things is. They trying to sell like snow in the winter. It is not working out. It is not working out. Um, yeah. So I mean, just to kind of touch on the merge. Actually, I listened back to one of our last calls, and I was like, it's probably a sell the news event. Like, uh, I mean, and it turned out to be pretty much exactly that. And for the reasons that you had said earlier, right? Like, this news was the reason it was helping, not prop up, but it was helping keep the crypto markets in a slightly better spirits, even though all this craziness is going on. So then once the news happened, and it's like when it's not a big change for users, right? Like even though it's a great technical accomplishment on the back end, the user was just like, okay, like what, Ethereum still, he's still paying gas fees, still doing these transactions, right? So people, you don't get that continued goodwill, right? Even though you should, because the product was finally delivered, you don't actually get that. So that's a big thing. So that's one of the main reasons why I was saying, most likely they sell the news event. That on top of the FOMC meeting, like coincided perfectly, right? Like, oh yeah, the FOMC meeting is a week after the merge. So overall, the merge is great because it reduces like energy output, right? It reduces energy usage by like 99%, which is crazy. So it becomes a lot more scalable in like the grander scheme of things, but you won't see any reduction in like gas fees or anything like that until sharding is introduced. And I don't believe sharding is going to be introduced until about Q3 of next year. So it does still something to look forward to, but that's like, in my opinion, probably the biggest thing when it comes to Ethereum, right? So when you're using ETH, you're competing for that block space. You want your transaction to live on that block. Well, at least that's how it was for proof of work. And you pay the gas to actually get that done. Until they introduce sharding, that's still kind of the same method, and gas fees will still be high till then. So until that problem gets solved and that scalability, which also makes me think about, okay, well, if that problem gets solved, then what do we do about these layer twos that were the scaling solutions like Polygon, which is partnered now with Disney. It's partnered now with like a few other ones. We got Arbitrum, we got Optimism. And like I've been using a little bit Arbitrum. I was using their trading platform because if you use Arbitrum, you can still possibly get an airdrop. So, people be sleeping on Discord, but hey, man, you find some airdrops in there. Arbitrum, Optimism already did theirs, I believe. So, but yeah, those are my thoughts around the merge.
Yeah, yeah, man. I'm glad you brought that up because that is probably one of the narratives, at least until like you were talking about sharding is introduced. L2s is, I mean, that's where the action is going to be. And I think one of the reasons why the price action around ETH is what it is because a lot of people realize, people that may have not been tapped in, they realize that, man, these gas fees are just as expensive as they were before. And, yesterday was it yesterday or the day before was International NFT Day. So, there were these free mints on ETH's blockchain, and I was gonna do one, and I saw that $50 gas fee. I was like, man, I don't even want this NFT that
In
bad.
this market, yeah,
Right? Yeah, it got spoiled. I mean, I got so spoiled to paying, a couple of dollars for gas fees, and I saw this free mint. I was like, okay, I'm starting to build my NFT collection back up, and I was like, man, I'm about to pay $50 for this mess. And so I think, people saw that, they're just like, man, what happened to these? A lot of people thought that the gas fees were going to go down, and then ETH did not become deflationary right away, and I think that broke a lot of people's hearts. Now they're not admitting as much or inflating as much ETH as they were before, but it's not deflationary yet because the volume is not on chain. And so it's just like, okay, well, when the volume comes back on chain, the gas fees are going to be high. So it's like,
yeah, it's like the double-edged sword, right? It's a similar like what you're saying with the Fed. Like they're doing both things at once. They've never done both things at once. It's like, okay, well, either the gas fees are high and it makes it deflationary because we need that network activity, or the gas fees are low, but it's not deflationary because there's no network activity. So.
Man, this is good because some people are saying that like this proof of stake, the merge to proof of stake validates the argument for other proof of stake chains, and so I think people will start paying attention to the other chains. But then I think ETH will always have his place, of course, for being the first to market, but they may be more of like a luxury chain. So, if we think about like fashion and fashion brands, yes, you have, your economical shoes. Payless isn't around anymore, but, people still go to Walmart and buy shoes, right? It's
Right.
like, I just need shoes. However, there are people that want to wear Gucci flip flops, and people want their red bottoms. And so, people find value in that. And I think ETH will has his place, even, well, maybe when sharding comes, it won't be a thing. But even up until then, if Tiffany and Co want to, release a project and they're like, okay, this is for high net worth individuals or people that don't mind paying a few $100s in gas fees, we're gonna do it on ETH. And so I think, it'll it'll be what it will be, and it'll carve its place in wherever the space.
Yeah, when I have some of these meetings with like Web 2 companies that are looking to get into Web 3, and I'm like, yeah, so like, this is how you would launch your NFT strategy. You first, obviously you need to decide what chain you want to launch it on, and when you start letting them know like the dollar amounts of like what, they're like, why is this one so much more expensive? Like what the? I'm like, well, and then they're like, well, we'll just go with that one. And I'm like, okay, you can go with that one. That's cool, but like, just so you know, people are gonna look at you like you went with that one. So, like,
Right.
make sure you know that going into it, because it's like from a business standpoint, obviously, it's like, well, yeah, I'm just gonna go with the cheaper one. But it's like, okay, yeah, that's an option.
Okay.
That's an option, but so
Yeah.
it's real funny to see that difference.
So man, it's I'm excited about it. All that being said, I mean, ETH is one of the things that I allegedly buy on a regular basis. I ain't got nothing out here, y'all. All the stuff I said I might have had early in this call, I don't have no crypto. I ain't got nothing. But
Celsius got it all.
Now that's the truth right there, man. That's the man.
Oh, say it ain't so. Say it
Man,
ain't so.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right, man. That's a banger for you. That's 50 minutes. If you tuned in late, try to go back and watch from the beginning. Definitely some great talks between me and Winston. We try to do this a little bit more often, so maybe we'll catch you on the next one. Winston, any parting words?
Yeah, y'all please make sure, and I know he's going to say this already, but make sure that you're checking out Justin at But Would You on Discord and Twitter and YouTube and all these other places as well, because there is a lot of alpha that comes through there. But y'all follow me as well at Metarise in several places. But you know, this a lot of our losses, our gains are on paper. Ain't nothing changed. We still have to do everything else that we've had to do. And this is really, I mean, it's really a fun time. It does remind me of 18 and 19 again. So just dig in, put your heels in, and get busy. Like really get busy for real.
Yeah, like you're exactly right, man. Like for me, it was putting my pride to the side, right? Not worrying about. I'm like, oh, my portfolio used to look like this, and now it looks like this. So I put that pride to the side. Wear it as a badge of honor, and embrace it and understand what you did wrong, and then don't do it again, right? That's the education of it is really the deepest thing. So, all right, man, I'll catch you on the next one. I'm sure we'll be back on within the next week or so.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. Later,
Peace.
people.